It is time once again for the weekly closes on our favorite Bitcoin miners. We're also going to do the monthly closes since I missed those being away while they happened. Let's get right into it. Before we get going, smash that like button, subscribe if you've been with us a while and haven't done so yet. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description as well as the channel bio. Let's start with TerraWolf. All right, Wulf, let's take a look at how the weekly closed on Wulf here. So we actually had a pretty sweet week here recently. So we came down off of this blow-off top, bit of a blow-off top there. We came all the way to the bottom of the range with that August 5 dump there. We are printing a green candle here. This is going to be not much of a star, but it is. There's a nice long wick on the bottom. I do like that, but the MACD is showing a little bit of danger here. It did print ever so slightly red there, and it did show an ever so soft cross on the weekly to the downside there. So that could be a bit ominous there for the Wulf chart here on the weekly time frame. So if we can't hold above 383, this this downward cross on the MACD might come into play on TerraWolf. So keep your eyes open for that 383 level on this thing, which this could also be hinting at what I mentioned yesterday with that resurgence of the VIX. And if that were to happen, we would revisit the lows back here at 273 or lower, just like I mentioned in yesterday's video. The RSI is in bull territory for Wulf right now, but it is just barely in that territory here. This is actually looking like a solid, so let me come in here. Right now, if we were to go bad here, this would be a solid little pullback, right? We come down and then up to test that yellow line there, and then we find ourselves going further down. Now, we could see this scenario, and we'd be going into this, this area down here between 250 and $2. Now, that scenario there happens if RSI resurgence, if the RSI surges back up again. If it does not, though, and we find ourselves in the top half here of the ATR bands, we have room all the way between 383 up to 548 on Wulf. And as we mentioned before, the daily was looking pretty bullish. So there is some, there's a bit of bull, bit of bear in there. Let's take a look at the monthly, see if that tells us anything different. Wow, that is quite the whipsaw. We came all the way up to 655, which was close to the top ATR band. Then we came in that crash all the way down to the midline of the fib bands as well as the middle ATR band created. If we do the 2-month, this would be quite the doji. Let me go to the 2-month real quick just to show you how that's going to be such a doji. Look at this, 2-month is just wicked doji. But the fact that we're holding right now at 403, which is just slightly at the top here of this massive wick from July 2023, that's actually pretty good. I do like that. That is looking bullish also. Ooh, on the 2-month, we got to cross up on the 2-month MACD. We are in bullish territory on the 2-month chart as well. We're not covering that right now. I just wanted to take a look at it. But on the monthly, we are charging up here on the MACD. We're not really showing any weakness on the RSI. We are also in bull territory on that as well. So we could see a bit of a drifting down in the week and the weekly, maybe a sideways, pullback through time sort of situation, sitting between 416 and like 316 for a couple of months potentially before we see ourselves moving back up. And if we are looking at the monthly here, when we do eventually break out, we will be looking at a move potentially up to like that $13 to $15 range on Wulf here. Well, I mean, potentially even done in for that 45 up here, which happened back in 2021. We did come a bit lower than we did before. We had a larger sell-off, so we might only come up to this peak here around 28 on Wulf, but keep an eye out between 28 and 45 for an ultimate top sometime when Bitcoin is deciding to make its ultimate top, which we will be checking on the Pi top indicator. I need to bring that back again, circle back around and take a look at that again here real soon to show everyone how that is going. So let's go back to the weekly here, and I'm just going to bounce back and forth here. Let's go to CleanSpark for the weekly. All right, CleanSpark. The weekly for CleanSpark, really not doing anything. It was almost so close to being an inside bar on this last one, which is not great. It's a pretty well, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Last time we got an inside bar on the weekly was back here on July 1st, and you saw it fell one more week and then took off before dumping quite dramatically here. We could. Now, let's see here. This is what I'm watching for now. So I'm watching for, if things go well, I'm watching for a gap up and go. These 2 weeks here, these could end up being an island. We could get something like an island reversal. Is there something in the past here I can show to give an example of that happening? Not really, huh? CleanSpark really doesn't like doing island reversals, does it? We don't really have any on this chart to look at. So if we could get a gap up, basically if on Monday we are positive and we gap up and we open anywhere above 1208 on Monday, and it holds that for the whole week. We could see these two candles looking like an island reversal, which is usually very powerful back up. And in this case, it would go back up into this most traded zone between $18 and $15. So that's what we're looking for next week. Let's take a look here. The MACD looks terrible on the weekly. It's really bad. On the RSI, also very, very weak, almost approaching some oversold territory here. If I had it on the normal settings between, what was it, 70 and 30, it would already be pretty much oversold. I like to keep mine at 80 and 20 because I only want to know when it is extreme. So there's that. The weekly on CleanSpark is looking kind of bad. We're hanging out near the bottom ATR band, but not all the way to it. So we could come all the way down to 815 on that bad boy. We got stuck beneath the mid fib band, which is at 1243, which is going to act as significant resistance for us. Once we cross that, though, the mid ATR is all the way up at $18.14. Let's take a look at the not the VWAP. Let's get rid of that. Let's take a look at the SMAs here. See what's going on. Oh yeah, we are trapped between. Is that the 50? Yeah, we're trapped between the 50 and the 200 week EMA right here, or SMAs right now. This sucks. If we go below 1085, we're going to have a really bad time, and we're going to struggle also to get above $12.11. But if we do that, we are opened all the way up to about $16. And if we get to 16, you better believe we're going to go back up to 18 and tap that as well on the weekly here. So let's go take a look at the monthly for CleanSpark. Let's bring it up here. CleanSpark monthly. All right, so what's going on here? We are still looking. So Wulf did not have the cup and handle sort of formation that's going on. CleanSpark does. We know that. Let's take a look. Let's bring in our ruler. Go from here to there. Did we break the bottom of it? We did. On the monthly, because of that fall, we did break so we sort of broken the cup and handle here a little bit. Now, if we can find by the end of August, if we can close the end of August above, let me get right to it, above $12.75 on CleanSpark. If we can close August above $12.75, this cup and handle, this big Giga Cup stays intact, okay? It stays intact if we can do that. Now, the monthly is not looking great because you can see it, the MACD is starting to curl over on it. We are in bear territory underneath the signal line, underneath the 50 level in the RSI. That's not good. Now, we did get caught here by the monthly ATR band, the mid one, at $11.50. That did catch us, and that did save us here and keep us from going any lower. If we lose that, we are going to find ourselves potentially coming back down to, as low as like $7.50, maybe even $6 on CleanSpark. Believe me, I'm going to feel the pain on that one. That one's going to hurt me quite a lot because I have quite a few shares of CleanSpark that I'm holding on to. Now, if we can break this handle, now let me bring the drawings back in. If we can break this handle right here and get above $21.41, we are going to quickly find ourselves at $40 for CleanSpark once that happens. Okay, that's what I'm just ducking my head down and holding on to my CleanSpark right now because my average is $10.30. All right, my average is $10.30 for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shares of CleanSpark. When it goes up to $40, I am going to be sitting on quite a lot of money. And I'm pretty confident it's going to hit $40. Honestly, I'm pretty confident CleanSpark, it would be able to maybe even hit between $50 and $60 at some point in the future. But we do need to see this thing. We do need to see this MACD start going back up, this RSI stay above the 50 line on the monthly in order to get that sort of move out of it. Right now, though, I would really want to see an island reversal. If I don't get that, I'm going to be looking at this weekly to retest that 937 level for CleanSpark. And if we get a resurgence of the VIX, like I said before, I'm looking forward to come down to that 752 where I will be buying big old bags of CleanSpark there. Let's take a look now at Mara. Mara's been very interesting lately. They've been buying more Bitcoin. They've been getting more equity to buy that Bitcoin, and it's very interesting what they are doing. So their weekly right now is an inside bar. So we've got an inside bar here. The weekly closed in between the body of the previous week. The way that looks, though, I'm not too convinced that's necessarily anything great or bad here at the moment. The last time we had an inside bar was here on July 17th, which actually ended up in a nice little rally. So maybe we'll get something of that out of here. This is looking a bit like a hammer candle at the bottom of the move here, which is very reminiscent of this candle here on July 8th, which resulted in a move up to $27 from $20. So if we got that, it'd be a $7 move. We'd be looking at what, $23 potentially, which would be above the mid ATR. If that were to happen and we closed above the mid ATR, that would open us up back up to about $30 on Mara. So that would be pretty great. And Mara will be getting the benefit of the doubt of buying more Bitcoin, just like MicroStrategy here very soon, because they're using the exact same method to do it to a smaller extent, but they do have a significantly smaller market cap than MicroStrategy, so it will take less money to move them. And that's really all I'm seeing on this right now. The MACD is trash. It's terrible. The RSI is terrible on the weekly. Let's go to the monthly for Mara. See if anything's showing up here. Woo, that's a lot of lines. Let me go ahead and get rid of those. All right, so, ooh, the monthly right now is bad. Yeah, this is bad. So the monthly looks terrible. The MACD is coming down on it. The RSI is in bear territory. We are below the midline of the ATR band. We're under that. That sucks. That's bad. If we close the month under $18.88, that opens us up on Mara to come all the way down to, honestly, as low as $10. As low as $10 on Mara. We could find ourselves all the way down at $10. Let me go ahead. We might get caught like here, but $10 is honestly on the table now. Let me get rid of this one. I don't need that anymore. Okay, yeah, that's $10 is on the table for Mara. We need to stay inside of this ascending channel here. Now, the fact that we got a bit of a pennant forming here on the monthly, that's pretty good. I don't dislike that at all, as we just need to get above that mid ATR band, and then I'm feeling like we're fairly in the clear on Mara, but this is leaving an ominous note here for a potential, like I said, surge of the VIX again, which would send us back down to possibly even as low as $10 on Mara, where honestly, I'll be a buyer of Mara. I'm not going to even be kidding you that on that. I would be a buyer of Mara at that level. Where is, oh, this hasn't even been around long enough for that. Okay. What about the weekly here? I was just looking for the fib bands. The weekly fib bands, the top of them are at $56. So, I mean, I am looking for something like a $56, maybe $60 Mara here at the absolute top of the run for Mara at some point. Especially now that they're diluting as much as they, and they're taking debt now. They're issuing debt. They're not diluting anymore. So that's actually a really, really good sign for future upside on all of the miners, to be honest. Them and CleanSpark both doing that. Let's take a look at Riot now. How's Riot doing? I'm going to try to remember all of these. I'm kind of going off the cuff here. I'm going to try to, please forgive me if I forget any of them. I'm not doing that on purpose. Yeah, okay, we got a cross down on the RSI on Riot here. Couple weeks back, we are in bear territory on the RSI. We have not been able to successfully penetrate the 50 on the RSI for Riot for quite a long time, honestly, since July of 2023, really. I mean, we went up that one period, but it came right back down very, very, very quickly. It's been just like the worst moves possible. We've been in this pretty bad, we've been rejecting at this mid-fib band here at 7, which is now at 1761 right now, honestly, since July 2023. So, I mean, no, honestly, since March 2022, we've been rejecting off that. So we really need to take this band at 1761 to have any chance to go any higher. Before we take out 1761, that is as high as we're going. And after that, we might hit 40. Okay, that's it. That's what we're looking at here on the weekly. It also printed an inside bar, just like Mara, which is good or bad. I don't know. We'll see next week, to be honest. I don't like where it is. It's not much of a hammer. It would need to open up above $8.17 next week to have any hope of being a good move. We are like smack dab in the center of the ATR bands right now. So like you have an upside up to 1087 and a downside down to $5 right now from 8. So, like, I mean, you basically got a $2 move in either direction. Well, $3 move in one direction, a $2 move in the other direction. So, I mean, risk to reward is still good to the upside, but I don't really like how this chart looks at all for Riot. Let's take a look at Riot on the monthly. What's going on here on the monthly? Look at how weak this has been for the monthly. Now, there is something kind of good showing up in here. And let me just bring that in about right here, like this. This is, yeah, it's not the worst I've ever seen. A bit of a fallen wedge coming in here, not like the most pronounced one, so it probably won't work out like that. But we do need to get, dang, yeah, this isn't great. On the monthly, we're not looking too good on this on the monthly. I like where it is because there's not a lot. I mean, there's not a lot of downside. You've got, we've on the upside, we got about 1343 on the monthly that we could do pretty easily. We've been trapped underneath the mid ATR band on the monthly since April. So we're not going anywhere fast until we get over $13.43. And then after that, 1661 is holding us back. And we have been respecting that mid-fib band on the monthly. Honestly, on the monthly, we've been respecting beneath that since January 2022. we're almost, we're on the back half of 2024 now. So Riot's been just an absolute atrocious hold here that basically the entire time just keeps getting rejected here. So I would be absolutely, I think probably the December run will probably come to a halt underneath $17 here, even if we do get a nice run at the end of the year here for Riot. Also on the monthly, we did get a cross down on the MACD. The RSI is in bear territory on the monthly for Riot. It's all not looking good, but I do like where it is on the daily. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, it is in support. It doesn't have a lot of downside risk compared to the upside potential on the daily chart right now, but I wouldn't be holding my breath on it getting past 1343 until at least October, and I wouldn't suggest at all that I think it's going to get over $17 in 2024 unless Bitcoin goes to like $150,000. That's what my thoughts are on Riot right now. Let's take a look at Bit Digital. That's the monthly. Let's do it on the weekly. Let's start on the weekly here. Bit Digital weekly. Oh, I'm still on my drawings. There we go. Turn the drawings off. Okay, so we didn't go into a great spot. Now we do got a bit of an inside bar with a tail on the bottom. It's kind of a hammer. It's a bit of an ugly hammer, but a hammer all the same on the Bit Digital here. Now, I don't hate this. I don't hate this. I don't like how the MACD is curling over, but it could kind of like tap the signal line and then curl up from there. The RSI is looking like it's trying to do something of a double bottom here at 45. It's not great looking, but I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I do want to see next week get over $3.07. If we don't get over $3.07 next week for Bit Digital, I would be looking at it to come back and revisit about $2.60 pretty quickly, and to the upside $4.31 over the course of the next month or two, if we can retake that center line on the weekly ATR bands. And ultimately for this run in December, I'm looking for something like, maybe 550 to 6 for like the December run, potentially, if that is something that is going to come through for us. The summer did. Why not? I mean, we got our summer run. We went from 173, 173 all the way up to 437. So our summer run did come through, just like I had been talking about it for such a long time. On the monthly, let's see what we got for the monthly. We are actually not in a terrible spot right now. It's not too bad. This looks like a solid pull. So, all right, on the monthly, we got the 3 up, 1 dramatic down, which looks like just a normal pullback, which could be followed by coming back up to testing this line up here around that $6 range sometime in the next 3 to 6 months. That's what I'd be looking for. This is kind of playing right into what I was thinking. Let me get rid of this. Yeah, that's not too bad. Let's see, the MACD. Okay, the MACD is kind of like going down, going back up again. So it's again mostly flat on the bars here. It is crawling back up, trying to get above the 0 line here on the monthly. We are on 50 RSI in the monthly chart here, so I'm not too concerned with this. I'm not too upset about this. Honestly, I just need to get over $3.32 in the next month or two, and that opens us up all the way up to the top of this trend line here, which currently, if we go out to early December, that's up at $6.11, and we could spike if we get a nice like short squeeze or something up to even as high as $7 here, and that would just be the December run. And if we go into the highest run it's ever done, it's gone all the way up to $33 and before in the past, which is something I'm sort of continuing to expect to happen at some point in time in 2025, but not in 2024. In 2024, I'm really only looking for it to like maybe get to $7 for Bit Digital. Let's take a look at Bit Farms now. Bit Farms, okay, Bit Farms. Ooh, I like this. I don't hate this. Okay, so we did get an RSI cross down 2 weeks ago, but we've had 2 green candles since. We're at 48 on the RSI on the weekly. We came as low all the way down to 165 in that big rundown, and we have just a bit of resistance at 250 and 270 ahead of us. We crossed 270. We're going to go back up into the mid threes very, very quickly. Now, if the VIX resurges again, we will revisit 165. That's just a reality. Now let's take a look on the monthly for Bit Farms. Oh, I don't hate it on the monthly either. Oh, yeah, no, that's a bit of a hammer. That's a hammer at the bottom of a move. Well, not the bottom, but the middle of the move. So we got a hammer at the middle of a move here. We are above the mid ATR bands, which opens us up to about 433 on the monthly chart here. That could happen in 1, maybe even 2 months, as low as 60 days. We could see it going all the way up to 430 here in that respect. The monthly, yeah, it's above the 0 line. It might come back to tap the signal line, which means we might come back to about 218 if we don't get a VIX resurgence here. And it might look something like what we saw back, like we saw back here Come on. Like we saw back here, we get a flag, or even right here when we had our flag and then went back up again. So we might be seeing a bull flag forming here on this chart on the monthly, and I like that. That's pretty good for that. The RSI is in a good place. The MACD is curling down, but like it's coming back above the zero line, which I expect it to tap the signal and potentially go back up higher. And I do think that some point in time this year we may see it touch 434. That range there for Bit Farms. And eventually in 2025, 9 or 10 or 15, maybe even $20 if they can achieve their exahash goals. Now, what else do we want to look at? Corz. We're going to bring up Corz now. Let me bring it up on all the charts. Corz. All right, on the weekly, Corz, we are at the top of the range here, but we did print a hammer, a bullish hammer here at the bottom of the move here. Oof, man, Corz. You are quite the interesting thing. So this could potentially, honestly, now let's see this from this. Let me draw something here. So here, that's the pole, and I want the pole to go, boom. Yeah, there we go. So if this ends up being a bull flag, where we are currently right now, that's been forming for weeks since, I don't know, early July. The next move up could be as high as $18 on Core Scientific. If you take the length of the pole, put it on top of the flag, you could be looking at $18 for this. And this bullish hammer we've got at the bottom of this move here right now is pretty interesting, especially considering that State Street increased their position by 300% last month. Okay. BlackRock was also buying last month. Big institutions were buying Core Scientific last month. This thing could even go, so it could do another 80% from where it currently is in a pretty, sometime this year. So I would not be surprised at all if I were to see it do that. I'm not in Corz. I really kind of feel like I should be right now, but RSI is in a great place. MACD hasn't been around long enough to really show us that. But this bullish hammer, off of like what I am going to call a bull flag right here, is really interesting to me. Let's take a look at the monthly now. How's the monthly looking? Oh, yeah, you know what? That monthly is looking good too. I like this monthly. Nice long wick on the bottom, hammer candle on the monthly as well, bullish handle, hammer on the monthly as well. Oof, I'm telling you, I'm thinking Corz I think Corz could hit $18. I think it could. I think it could totally do it. And do it probably faster than I think it should. It's still a little too risky for me, but that's cool. That's cool. It looks great. Looks real good. Are there any others? Let's take a look at Hut. Let's take a look at Hut. What have we done so far? We've done most of the ones I like. Let's take a look at Hut. Hut real quick. Hut. Weekly on Hut. Let's turn off some drawings here. Okay, Hut. Ooh, that's bad. This candle right now, this doji, underneath the mid ATR band at 1294, so it's below that, and it's completely disconnected from it. Hut looks bad. I don't like that. The MACD is crossing down. The RSI is in a bearish territory. Hut looks like it wants to move back down to about $10. Yeah, Hut looks like it wants to move back down to about $10 from here. It needs to get back up above 1294 in order to have any chance at moving up. And then it's got strong resistance between 1677 and 1852. So Hut's in a bad place. Monthly, we got a white bar here on the MACD. The RSI is still bullish at 50.03, but about to collide with the signal line at 48. So the monthly is also, oh, no, blow off top. Blow off top on the monthly, blow off top from July. The August one, if August closes anywhere 1154 or below, so if August closes anywhere at or below $11.54, we've got an evening star printing from July into August, which will only send us potentially down to 10, maybe even $8. So yeah, Hut's looking bad. Hut looks bad. The technicals on Hut don't look good. Let's take a real quick look at Cifr. Cifr, since plenty of comments come through to continue to cover Cifr, so I will continue to cover Cifr. Let's take a look here. That's the monthly. All right, weekly on Cifr, same thing as Hut. Same thing as Hut. This looks bad. Two weekly candles completely disconnected from the mid ATR band, which is sitting at 498. We've got two candles completely disconnected from that. And the one we're printing here is a doji inside bar for this week, closed at 384. We got a cross down on the MACD, and the RSI is in bearish territory for Cifr. This looks like it wants to come back to 334. Okay, it looks like it wants to come back to 334, potentially on the low end, maybe even 259 for Cifr. Let's take a look at the monthly. How's the monthly looking? The monthly looks terrible. Yeah, I'm going to bring my drawings back. Blow off top in July. Huge blow off top in July. If you did not get out in July, at the last day of July, when this thing was showing this huge wick on top and it closed out at 522, if you did not get out there, I don't know what you're doing. That's insane. That was a huge signal that Cifr was coming down, way down. And as you saw here, it did come way down in August, and it still seems like it could go lower. And honestly, looking at these monthly candles, we closed beneath. So on August now, we are below the mid ATR band, which is at $4.30 on the monthly. For the monthly here, yeah, it's gonna get 281. Cifr wants to go to 281 on the monthly based on how this looks. The RSI is barely still in bullish territory. It's underneath the signal line for the monthly. It is printing white bars with lowering momentum on the monthly. Oh, I already had a line there. Haha. Yeah, it wants to come down to, it doesn't matter. Let me just draw another one. It wants to come down to about $2.77, around that area. That's what it wants to do for Cifr. Iren on the weekly here. So we came out of this significant aggressive sell-off here. We got a bit of an island showing up here on Iren in the last 2 weeks. Sorry, I brought back in all my drawings all of a sudden. We came all the way down last week down to $6 pretty much, tapped that. We're back at 8 here. This is actually constructive looking here now. This could be something of a flush down, bit of a pull up as high as 972, and then if we see it come back and cross below $6, we will revisit 5 and 4 if that is to happen, and that would only occur again if there was a VIX resurgence where it went back up to like 40 or 50 or something like that on the VIX. We will see some resistance above us at 975 on Iren if we get that high. If we get across 975, 1126, between 1126 and 1387, we will experience some resistance there. Now, we do need to get above this descending trend line here on the weekly. We've done it on the daily, but we do need to do it on the weekly as well. We do have some trouble in the MACD, where we got a MACD cross about 3 weeks ago, and we are in bear territory for the RSI on Iren here. Now, we really need to get up and above 832 to get past these two candle bodies back here from December 2023, and then after that 975. Once we conquer 975, 1126 is going to give us a little trouble as we grind our way up to 1387, and then that's when we go for new all-time highs on Iren. For the weekly though, I don't hate it. It came all the way down. Like I said, I've been buying under $10. I've been buying Iren. Under $8, I've been really buying Iren, and if it comes down to $5, I'll buy it even harder. So let's go, not there. Let's go to the monthly on Iren. Let's take a look here. How's the monthly looking? Turn off the drawings. The monthly's not great. Bit of a doji here. If I went into the 2 month, you'd see a doji on this thing, which I'm not going to do right now. We bounced off the middle ATR here. It came up all the way up to 1482. We could get on the upside here. If we break that 714, though, we will come down and visit like 439 on Iren. The MACD is not really showing us anything because it hasn't been around long enough. The RSI, though, is still in bull territory on the monthly. We are colliding with the signal line, which we bounced off of in the past on the monthly, so it could be up from here for Iren. So that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description, as well as the channel bio, and have a profitable day.